There we
There
are.
we are. I know it's funny. It's like, okay, we'll just keep accepting. We'll just keep we'll just keep accepting, I guess.
Just keep it coming.
Just keep accepting. Just keep accepting. Brother, what's going on? Great to see you.
Good to see you too. We have the same sunshine on us.
Yes. Yes, it's beaming. The sun is light beaming. We're live streaming. It's live
Mm.
beaming, you know. Yeah, the sun is upon us. Where are you in the world?
Spain.
Spain. Awesome. Yeah, I'm in Texas, USA. Yeah, yeah, I'm in Texas. So, oh man, just beautiful to see you in the flesh, beautiful to see you, to hear your voice. As soon as I heard your voice and as soon as I heard your laughter, I started smiling already.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
man.
it's it's fascinating. Yesterday I was looking at the sun and I thought of a few people and I was like, is it possible? Of course it's possible that that same thing is now shining on them as well. Like how big is this? How far is this? We can't see everything.
Right, right. Massive. I mean, so expansive. It's so vast. I mean, it touches everything. It's giving life to everything. So my goodness, I'm just realizing like just more presence, more reverence for nature, and more meaningfulness, more purposefulness. And every time we talk, last time we talked, and for those, for the people who don't know you, like what do your friends usually call you?
Dennis.
Dennis. Dennis. Because I know even, some of your clientele, the testimonials that you have with human design, they still call you I create lines. You know? They never say Dennis, they just say like thank you, I create, you know? Yeah. Yeah. So Dennis, last time we talked, it was on your podcast, and there was a lot of reverence for the stillness, for the silence, and just for the moment. And have you been taking those reverent silences still since the last time we talked?
Mm, more and more in a sense of being very, very careful with every trip outside of myself, every every indulgence in every sense, if it's taste, if it's looking at something, reading something, listening to somebody, everything is like a little trip where my energy goes out from me and kind of samples something, and then I need to reel it back in, and it's
Mm.
become the most important thing, especially with this much information, with maybe this much people, because I'm in the city.
Mhm.
That's going to change. Um, but these breaks, these little mindful silences, I have it. Ideally, I have a habit of breaking up my day. And let's say in the morning, I wake up and then I charge, do some exercise, qigong, breath work, mindfulness. And then ideally, I will have in the middle of the day just a little session with myself, just going back. Okay, what have I done up to now? Where have I been? Who have I met? Am I lost? Am I fragmented? Or am I here? If I'm fragmented, why? You know, did I people please over here? Did I say a lie over there? Did I lose my breathing over there? Did I eat too much melon over here? So now I'm just kind of, drunk a bit from the sugars or something. So I need this periodic going out, coming back, going out, coming back. Otherwise,
Hmm. So it's always been important for you to stay in the center, like to stay in the middle.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. Where did you learn that? Because I know that you enjoy a lot of as well, like Japanese culture, anime, and you take and are inspired by different influences. Where did you learn like that art of stillness and that art of maintaining that balance?
From you, from many people that, for many people that are kind of connected to the teachings of the Tao, Lao Tzu, many, kung fu movies, kung fu anime, just and also my own breathing.
Hmm.
I would say that after a certain point where I felt burnout from society, I felt how much different, let's say also after
Hmm.
psychedelics, where they showed me what my normal rate of breathing is, and then everything that isn't that is just it's ridiculous. It's so fast. It's so all over the place. So I would say I just follow my own spirit. I just follow my own breath, and it's like if it's too strained, if I need to rush so much. Of course, a little bit of rushing is okay to adjust to one another. Like somebody's going to be a bit faster, somebody's going to be a bit slower, and you have to kind of, we meet in each other's field, and then there's an oscillation. But
Mm.
whatever else is like a huge oscillation of spirit where I need to speed up, like it's my grandma whose nervous system is from our civil wars 20 years ago, then that's not gonna be so easy. So
No.
I would say, yeah.
No, 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 I agree. You know, it's interesting too because Dennis, like that word is very uncommon for me to hear. Oscillation. I don't commonly hear people using this word oscillation. And when you said it, it like triggered something in my mind to like a memory. And if
Mm.
I'm not mistaken, I think that there was a fan or a heater or something that was plugged in and there was a oscillate button. And it
Mm.
was like press a button and then the fan would like rotate or it would turn around the room and it called it oscillating. Like that was how it oscillated. So when you say the word oscillation, like what do you feel when you hear that word?
Adjustment, dance, a dance, a flirtation, uh, uh, hmm, yeah, adjustment, dance, flirtation.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. You know, because with that adjustment, that dance and that flirtation, you're saying that when two people's energy fields come in contact, there has to be an oscillation, an adjustment, a dance, and a flirtation with the fields.
Mm-hmm.
And is it all unconscious, like below the level of our conscious awareness that we're doing this dance with the energy?
A huge part is, but we're moving now into more and more conscious where we're gonna be able, it's almost gonna be like you'll be able to make love to somebody just by the energy from the outside. It's 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 because the fields are becoming so tangible, and we're becoming so aware of that part of who we are.
Mm.
It's going to become more important. It's going to be like a handshake, like a bam. This is me, this is you, and that's why we're moving into transparency. That's why we're moving into full cards on the table, because you're not going to be able to hide much anymore. You're just going to come into contact with somebody, and it's going to be instant data transmission, and if you don't know yourself, the other person is gonna, it's just gonna be short circuits. It's just gonna be, this doesn't go here, this doesn't go there.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. You know, it reminds me of like there was a Tai Chi master, and he was doing like a demonstration, you know, not like a boastful or a bragging demonstration, like, oh, look at me, I'm so powerful. But he just wanted his students to understand like about Tai Chi and about, you know, him understanding the martial art. And so he asked his students to like run at him. And they, one by one, they just ran at him. And each of them just found themselves on the floor. You know, everyone just came at him full force, tried to do whatever they did, their technique. And they just were on the floor, just on the floor, just on the floor, just on the floor. And they asked him, like, what is it about your technique? And he's like, it's not even the technique, you know? He said, I know my body more than you know your body, you know? And since I know my body better than you know your body, I can manipulate my body, which manipulates your body, right? So it was just like that oscillation, that dance and that manipulation of him knowing himself at a deep level and being able to just, you know, it was amazing to watch. Yeah.
It's like you always like to say, it's it's more of like they're coming at him, or something's coming at you, and the more you know yourself, the more you know where to unplug things. The more you know where you just have to, okay, I'm gonna dodge here. I'm gonna open this. I'm gonna open this. I'm gonna open this. It's nothing. There's no more fighting anything. It's just knowing what to turn off at the right second, so it doesn't. So you stay okay.
Right, right. So when it came to like unplugging, you know, like when you said you were in society and, you know, taste testing or your energy was sampling all sorts of different, you know, external stimuli in society. Some people call it like unplugging from the matrix. You know, when did you find yourself within all of that civilization and you felt like you needed another vibration, you know?
I would say very gradually for the last 3 years, ever since diving deeper into human design, and then slowly when I started to transition, when the like when the pranic path, let's say, originated for me in its early stages, going from like junk food, vegan, junk food, vegetarian, then slowly, the more I did it, the more certain things I would have to force myself to like them. I would have to force myself to kind of be like, but no, you're still enjoying this. Come on, no, this is good. You can go over there. It's gonna be fun, and then it's not. And you can try this. It's gonna be tasty, and then it's not. And this is actually a good environment, but then it's not. And then I would say it happened instantly for certain parts of me, but then, you know, the bodies needed to align. Like it's like I don't know, my physical body started lagging, or the mental body was lagging, but something was always in front, and I was like, no, no, you know, like in sleep, like, no, 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 just 5 more minutes of this, just 5 more minutes of this, and then we're gonna get out. And then slowly, you know what they say, when the cons outweigh the pros, you're gonna do something different. And I feel it's approaching. I feel like it's all too much. It's always been too much. It's like I feel like everyone is too stressed out and too burnt out. We just don't allow ourselves to how many people on this planet are very in so much pain, and they they can't say it, maybe even to their spouse or to their children, especially to their children, you know, seem weak, and like you can't hack it anymore in the system and the civilization. But I feel like everyone is deeply unhappy, and we would all love to be like on some like plains or tropical beach or some place like that, like small tribes where we can actually connect to one another. I feel like that's like an ideal place.
Mm. Mm. So like community, that togetherness, that sense of fellowship with, other human beings, other beings of light, that community coming together. Yeah.
Mm, mm, mm.
Awesome. Awesome, man. So when did you feel like you finally stopped hitting the snooze button, and going back to sleep? Like when was enough enough?
Mm. I mean, there are layers. There's still places where I go like this, like, oh, no, I'm just gonna try it again.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I found a good thing. I'm gonna make a post about this one of these days. I found a balance between when I feel a craving for something that I know is just me covering up an emotion, me just hitting a snooze button. I found a balance. I found like a cheat for myself where it was always all or nothing. It was either let's say, I'm gonna binge fully into something and not face the emotion, or I'm gonna fully face the emotion and not even touch the thing, or not even go to the place, or not even do the thing. Now, let's say it's a food. Let's say, let's for the sake of argument, it's some food that I've already is supposed to be behind me. I've tried and it's not working anymore. And then I feel a pull. I feel disoriented. I feel the emotion coming up, and I have a choice. I feel the disconnect within myself. One part wants to hit the snooze button. The other part wants to sit down or either cry or break some plates and then journal or whatever it is to come to terms with what needs to be addressed. And now I have this cheat code where I say, okay, I'm going to go buy or get the food that I want, and then it's going to be there in front of me. I'm going to look at it until I backtrack in my mind with myself, until I find the emotion, until I get it out, until I come to so much clarity. If it takes me an hour, and then after that, I'm going to eat the thing. And I'm not going to eat the thing until I resolve the emotion. And in that way, I can have both.
Whoa. Okay, this is the first time I've ever heard of this method. That is amazing. So you're like staring at the food. You're like the food is right in front of you, and you're just there with it. You're present with it. And is that like a moment of mindfulness where you're going in your mind or your heart or your spirit, or like where are you going to find the emotion and like link up with it before you sync up with it?
Mm. I ask myself, where where have I gone astray? When did I get lost? I ask myself, when was the last time that I know that I was in full alignment? And then I say, okay, I know I was in full alignment, let's say 2 days ago when I did a water fast, when I did a UT fast or something. And then what happened? Like I said, it was something, who did I meet? Where did I go? So this happened 2 days ago. I had this huge melon in front of me, and like a melon by itself is not something that is going to derail me hugely. But if I eat the whole melon in one sitting, that's a different story. So I have this entire melon in front of me, and I'm like, why am I disoriented right now? Where's my breathing? What happened? Why do I not know myself now? And then I'm like, okay, I went to the city center. I went to this huge market that had all types of foods, all types of walks of life. Many people just running in this direction and that direction. You feel the slack, you feel the circulation of energy, and this is what derailed me. And then I came to the place where I'm living, and then I was rushed, and then I was like, oh, I need to do this, and then I was multitasking on 5 different things. I had 5 tabs open on my computer. I was like, I have this live at 5 p.m. I'm gonna eat this melon, then I'm gonna clean my room. So I had 10 things all at once. And I'm like, okay, so these things have made me unstable. And let's just go back. Okay, try to remember all the people, forgive them. It was a big unconscious field. It's the middle of the city. It was rush hour. The people are working their 9 to 5. So I had to go and, okay, let's forgive all those people. Let's forgive myself. Let's do some breath work. Let's just shake off the body. Let's accept everything. It's not my fault. It's not their fault. And one by one, just closing off the tabs until I was in like the most innocent zero field where my eyes were from this, where my shoulders were from this, where I was able to kind of go like that and become like a child, like, okay, it's not my fault, it's not their fault, it's gonna be fine, somatic practices, vagus nerve, uh, certain places, deep breathing, qigong, yourself. And until I was fluffy as a little cloud, then I went into the melon.
That's a whole process, That's a whole process right there. And Dennis, I love the analogy of like closing out the tabs, you know, closing the tabs, because I've been in the multitasking mode where, you feel like you're doing so many things at once, and you can trick yourself into thinking that you're getting all of these things done at the same time. But it's like sometimes you just gotta go back to zero. Like you said, go back, go back, go back, close out, close out, close out. Let me get back into that oneness, into that abundance, because you even said like, okay, why don't I know myself? And it's interesting because it's almost like it gives the feeling of, okay, we know ourselves, but then somehow we forget ourselves, you know? It's like, where did I forget? Connecting the dots, closing the tabs, going back. And you said something else, Dennis, that I thought was so key. You said forgiveness. Like all these people, okay, I forgive them, I forgive this. Has it ever been more challenging to forgive yourself or to forgive someone else? Which one has been the most challenging?
I would say others,
Mm. Why?
because I can give myself closure and I can't always get closure from others.
Mm.
It's like, okay, I've always been a great equalizer in my own life. I've always been um, a, someone who I needed to redeem myself. If I did something wrong. If I did something that I feel has hurt somebody, I was my own greatest judge. I was my own greatest equalizer, balancer, redeemer. I knew. Okay, this needs. I'm gonna pay this off. Maybe not to the same person, but I'm gonna do service to somehow, some way. I'm gonna give it back. And in that way I would have closure with myself. It was something that I would do in relationships or within friendships or with my parents or siblings, where I would give people like 3,000 chances, even though I would get burned and burned and burned on the same cross. I would go to such extreme lengths to have closure with myself, to know I've done absolutely everything I could, to my own detriment even, just to make sure that I've done everything that I could. So I know that I can say I've done everything that was possible, and I can then walk away. In many cases, people would think that I'm insane for trying it so much, but at least I know I've done everything. And in that case, I can equalize myself, let's say. I can forgive myself. It was harder for me to forgive others because of the unconsciousness or immaturity that, okay, I can forgive them, but it was almost as if I had this urge that I had to make them see the not closure part. I would insist on, but do you see what you did? It was like I needed to be the parent. I needed to be the parent to make them, because so they see what they have done in a sense. So it doesn't, so it's not in vain. That's like inside of me. So okay, we had the situation. I was hurt, or we were both hurt. Can we at least make something out of it? Can we at least make a lesson out of it? Let me show you the lesson. Let me help you get to the lesson. And then if they don't get to the lesson, then I would get mad. Then I wouldn't. Then I was like, was this all in vain? And of course, it wasn't in vain. The lesson was mine. My part of the lesson is always there, but it was something in me that was always gripping and wanting for the other person to also get the lesson, because then it's just gonna repeat. So now I see why as I'm speaking this. You know why? Because it would repeat. The same person would come and they wouldn't learn from the last thing that happened to us. And the lesson was always mine, not in the thing that I was trying to teach them or that they were trying to teach me, but the lesson was that if they're not going to learn the lesson, then my lesson is to get away, and it's my responsibility to get away. So that's why it was hard for me to forgive. It was hard for me to forgive others because in many cases, forgiving others also meant having to leave them. And it was always difficult for me to leave people because I just want to play, I just want to play with everyone in my sandbox. Everybody's invited in my sandbox. There's plenty of toys, there's plenty of sand. We can all play, we can all get along. Just that in some instances, it's not about whether I welcome people or not. It's about, there's also there 50% of the side.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for that breakdown and just for openly expressing that, because, I think a lot of people go through it and even grow through it when it comes to relationships, when it comes to others, when it comes to forgiveness, and the feeling like you don't have closure, like the feeling like the loop is not closed, like it's still kind of, you know, just repeating. The cycle is repeating over and over again, and that the lessons aren't learned. Because usually when if I ask people that question, usually I will always hear somebody say that it's harder to forgive themselves than another person. And I love how you just flip that whole perspective on its head and you say, no, actually, I can forgive myself a lot easier because, I checked all the boxes. I did all the things. I can have that closure. I can have that maturity with myself to come to that conclusion. But with someone else, it might feel sometimes like the message didn't penetrate, it didn't get through, it didn't pierce the other person in a way where, the lesson was gained, or, something was maintained, or even, that feeling like it was a wasted effort. Like, wow, we didn't have closure here, with another person. So thank you for that honesty.
Mm.
That honesty, wow. Wow.
I mean, if we're gonna ride the wave, this is what I believe. Like we gotta ride the wave anyway. We gotta dodge and duck and weave and roll with the punches, and that's just what it is from day to day, meeting ourselves, meeting other people. If we're gonna ride the wave anyway, any wave, then at least we can get something out of it. If we're gonna go into the fire, let's go into the fire together. Let's burn together. And then on the other hand, let's both have something. Both have a phoenix out of it. Otherwise, it's just tumbling and turning, and you get burned, and then it's for nothing. So yeah.
Wow, wow. So like the phoenix that rises from the ashes, like
Mm.
let's something come from this. If we're gonna go through the fire, let's grow through the fire,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. This ties back, earlier, Dennis, you were talking about in the beginning how energy is evolving, the way that it's expressed and the way that it's not suppressed or repressed, but the way that it comes and the way that we can actually have these experiences energetically. And you were talking about that it's going to get to the point where, you know, that flirtation of energy, there's going to even be like, it can be very intimate in nature with energy. Have you ever had a relationship or ever had an encounter with an individual that you felt like they were making love with your energy? Like for some people, that's so far away from their mind, they would never understand what that even means. Like, have you experienced that?
So just to get a little bit technical here in like human design terms, I'm a projector, meaning that I have the sacral or the sexual center open. And whenever I'm around generators, who are the 70% of all population, they have the sacral center defined. And it's either going to be a satisfying tantric pulsation, or it's going to be a sad, a frustrated grinding of just tension and static, and the whole world is built on that because the 70% of the population are generators, and almost nobody is working at a job that they enjoy. So where is the satisfaction going to come from? There are those who are rare, and that's beautiful to experience. So I am getting gangbanged energetically all day, every day when I go in society. It's basically standard non-energy being thing. But I can give you an example where it was. So when I lived in Sweden, I lived there for 3 years, and the first year I moved in with a family there. So there was the mom, the dad, and two little children. And there were these instances where the dad that I was living with them, and the father, the husband, he wasn't home. Let's say he was. Um, Imagine being a reflector in a world full of generators. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Every supermarket trip is like a little orgy, a little gangbang. So we need to stay aligned. So I don't want to go far off here. And when the father was out, there was an instance where the lady, and she wasn't too far from me. I'm 30, she was like maybe 35, 40 tops. And she was there with the child, and it was summer. I was just coming in, like I was just charged feet on the ground, sun in my eyes. I was next to the sea, ions all over the place, negative electrons all over the place. I just came in and I started cooking something, and she was in the kitchen behind me. And suddenly I just feel it. Like I've been in this studying this human design and energy nuances for 3 years. I can feel, I know when I'm plugged into somebody or somebody's plugged into me like that. I can just feel, I can feel it. And then I feel that and I start sweating and I take a deep inhale and I take a deep exhale and like a sigh. So, and when I do that, her energy increases. And then she sighs, and then I sweat more, and I don't want to turn around. And that goes back and forth and back and forth. And I'm cooking, and I just don't want to turn around. And she's behind me, sitting at this desk, holding this baby, and almost like, you know, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're not looking at each other. We're not touching. But my exhale fuels her, and her exhale shakes me, and that this is going on for 10 minutes. And after that, she just, you know, I can feel the hair twirling, and she goes out, and I feel raped. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I was raped. There was no consent. She just came into the kitchen, sat behind me, and we had this oscillation back and forth. I'm sweating. She's twirling her hair. If she was smoking, I would almost be like, oh, this was amazing. And I'm like, can I get, I used to play jokes with my former partner. If you watched South Park, these episodes where Cartman says, "I like to be wined and dined before I get." At least I would like to be wined and dined before I get penetrated.
Hmm. Oh my gosh. This, I've never heard of that, like an experience like that. So you're saying, I mean, it was like you said, it was no consent. You said she was holding her baby and she was just sitting there. You're cooking, but then you feel, and you said you did not want to turn. What were you afraid of if you would turn? Like what did you not want to turn?
It was like if I turned and we both knew what was happening. Of course, she knew what was happening because my back is turned and she's looking at me and she's enjoying it. She's like the husband's not there. They've been married for I'd say I think 5 to 7 years. They're not. Uh, I've been living with them for a year. She's frustrated. They're fighting all the time. I'm this new young energy, male energy in the house, and then it was almost like we had an affair without nobody knowing, or you have never had any evidence, or if somebody asks, what will you both do? No, we didn't do anything. I was holding the baby, he was cooking, nothing happened. Um, so I knew that if I turned around and we both acknowledged what happened, there would two things would happen. One, she would have to bridge this whole gap of understanding human aura in 5 minutes, what just occurred. And the other thing was that then every single time, and I don't know how long am I gonna live with her still, with the whole family. Every single time we would pass in the hallway, it was as if we actually had intercourse, and there would be this great uncomfortable tension from now on. And I was just like, I can't afford this because I was there with my partner, and of course my partner laughed because she knows this happens. This happens in the subway. This happens especially like with women that are 50 and more. I know exactly what he means. Yeah, Nabiha is a reflector, definitely. And my partner was a projector. My former partner was also a projector, and she used to get the same thing with men. And it's different with men. When men do this, then it's more aggressive. It's more like literal rape. Well, this is more kind of like unconscious. Yeah, I get this a lot. I get this a lot, especially with ladies of 50 and over that are chronically frustrated in their marriage. They don't know what to do with this energy. And we projectors, we are yin to the yang of the generator. It's almost like the generators carry the charge. They don't know what to do with it. And they come to us. And we are like the lowlands to which all the rivers flow. And it just gets discharged. It just gets, there you go. There you go. It's like, where do I go with this? And this perpetual yin energy, it's mechanics. Everything almost in human design is mechanics. You come next to somebody who's really charged, and it just gets dumped into you. And slowly now, let's say maybe in the last month, I've learned to use it. I've learned to be able to utilize it. And the way to utilize it is that you have to decondition all of your guilt and shame from your sexual center. Let's say I had to decondition that for my entire childhood, I was living with my mom, and she was a generator, and she was very emotional, and she would take out all her frustration yelling at me and being, this fiery yang energy around me, and I would suck it all up thinking it was me, it was mine. And until I was able to resolve it, every time any other woman that was sexually frustrated and emotional at the same time, it would trigger me and basically regress me to when I was 5 years old. And then it would wreck my field. And now slowly, 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 every time that I was, okay, this is the sacral energy. This is the frustrating energy. Who is it from? Oh, it's that lady over there in another booth on the metro. She's very frustrated. and then I go back into the inquiry process that I told you. Okay, forgive her. She's the same as my mom. She's been frustrated on her 9 to 5 job. Maybe she's not in touch with her sexuality. Maybe she hasn't had an intimate contact with her partner for the last decade or whatever, or maybe ever. Maybe nobody told her she can touch her body to feel her sensuality ever, and then I tick all the boxes, I close all the tabs slowly, slowly, and now I'm kind of playful with it. Now I can feel the sacral, and I feel that it makes me slightly uncomfortable, but if I know that it's definitely not mine, it's not my fault, it's not any of the things that I thought were there as a child, now I can go into my fiery yang. I channel it into qigong. I choose like drawing the bow, and I fluctuate it from my pelvis into my hands. I push it out, exhale it out to the hand, and then I like channel it, circulate it, and then if I go too far, then I start kicking things, and then it goes into martial arts, and then I have to be mindful who's around me, and then I go, okay, 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 don't amplify too much. This is not yours. Like in Hunter x Hunter, manipulator, the specialist who can use other people's spells in his own spell book, sort of.
Right. Right. There were so many archetypes in Hunter x Hunter, the conjurers, the enhancers, right? Like it was all human design. It was all human design. And what you're saying, Dennis, thank you for sharing this, by the way. This is like, just hearing this is already transformational. I already feel like my mind is expanded just hearing this, because what you're saying is fascinating. Like, for people who have never experienced that type of energy, like that energetic encounter, because you said this happens all the time. Like your partner was saying, like, oh, this happens all the time. This happens on the subway. This happens in different places and different spaces. And it's like, when that encounter happened, you said it felt like a violation. Like, was it like a siphoning of the masculine energy? Was it like an energy vampire? Was it draining? Did it feel like, what was that encounter? Because it sounds like it was something that that she learned, or she was able to do, you know?
I when it comes to the sexual energy, it is more of, when it comes to this sacral from the generator, and I'm like a projector, or Nabiha is a reflector. In that sense, it's more of an invasion. It's more of like somebody stepping in with this intensity that you haven't agreed to. It's almost like uh, there was not enough foreplay for this, or it's too big for me. It's too big for me. I'm still a virgin. It's too big for me. More like that. Some other energies are different. Like, I can definitely also feel like this is definitely hip area, pelvic area, but in the center of our body we have the heart and G center, which is connected to, the stomach as well, and very connected to sense of direction and lack. And this is the energy vortex where I can feel the pull, where I can feel if somebody, if somebody is very in a mode that they haven't eaten in 2.5 hours and they need to eat, and there's no food around, then other means of nourishment are going to be sufficient. And then that could be attention, that could be other things. And then I can feel it from people's, like, middle of their bodies or their throats, like they're gasping for air, like they're asking for me to donate oxygen to them. That's a different thing. That's more draining.
Okay. Okay. Because it gives the feeling or the assumption that, it almost insinuates that if it could be a violation, then it also could be, it doesn't have to be parasitic. It doesn't have to be like a siphoning of something without someone's consent. It could be consensual, like how people talk about tantra, or things that can happen energetically without the physical in the way. Like the physical, nothing physical took place. You were away from each other, you know? So the common, the average person doesn't think that that's even possible. Does it, like, do you both have to be that sensitive to energy for that to even take place at all?
No, no. So Nabiha just says it's just desire and they don't control it. So what I'm describing is the basis for all human attraction. It is the traction that creates the traction, right? It's the friction of the aura fields. When we come next to each other, there's polarities, there's magnets pushing and pulling, and that pushing and pulling back and forth is what creates this. And then people mostly do intercourse just to resolve all this. Most of us are alive on the planet because people didn't know that they can just go in separate ways and it would be fine. They don't have to go like this. So like the closer it is, the more friction it goes. But you don't have to go like this, which is intercourse. You can just go separate ways, which is what is less volatile and doesn't create unwanted pregnancies and abortions and all these things. So this thing that I'm explaining is I can explain it because of the sensitivity to energy, but this is what happens to people. All these push and pull energies, the sacral, the heart, it's what runs people's lives. It's what pulls them into action. It's what makes them you know it's what Jung says. You will call it fate until you realize that it's your subconscious, and that is what human design and all these modalities. It shows you, okay, but you don't have to be unconscious about it. And when you ask about this lady, no, 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 she wasn't. She was just enjoying what was happening to her. She was just, in the Matrix when the Merovingian sends the cake to the lady and she eats one piece of that cake and the cake has the code for her orgasm, and then he narrates like soon reason is gone and all that it matters is the feeling and nothing else, and she just flusters and fluctuates, and then you can see that other men around her are also activated with that, and that's the manifesting generator and the generator who emanates the energy to other people, whether satisfaction or frustration. And she was emanating satisfaction, and you can see in her eyes that there's no reason anymore. It's just like sort of being on drugs, but you're drugged by your own essence.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful description. That scene was a powerful one. And it was a short scene, but like the message always stuck with me because, every character in the Matrix had a lesson that they were imparting, a lesson that they were teaching. The Oracle had a lesson, Seraph had a lesson, the architect had a lesson. And I think the Merovingian, his lesson was causality. He wanted to teach them cause and effect. This happens, then that happens. It's just the way of the world, causality. It's easy. It's like an equation. You can break it down. And when we're talking about these energetic things, this subject is so I think we could do like 3 more lives just on this subject, because I remember you were talking about psychedelics, and I recall one of my friends having an experience on it might have been LSD or some form of psychedelic, where he was in a bar, and all of a sudden, his awareness started to be heightened, and he started to see certain things in his auric field. Like he looked, and he remembered like looking at a lady that was like sitting away in the bar, and it was almost like his eyes, like Superman, the laser beams on the eyes. It was almost like he saw the energy from his eyes travel all the way to this lady on the other side of the bar. And as soon as the laser beams from his eyes connected, she turned and looked in his direction. Like she turned and faced him as soon as the beam connected, and he was like, whoa. It shocked him. He was like, energy is real. Like, this is real. So, when it comes to our auric fields, when it comes to this energy that is all around us, but so many people can't see this. What do you feel is the biggest disconnect when it comes to just understanding this energy that is happening all the time?
um, just real quick for the story of your friend, I can't see the aura as like a tangible thing in front of me. I know that I can feel where my aura goes by also if people are turning around. I can feel I'm trying to master this to look at people without extending the aura and touching them versus looking at people and I'm extending the aura and touching them and that's also because I'm a projector and projector aura is like a laser beam. Let's say reflector aura is like a mirror, generator aura is like a fireplace, so I'm dabbling with this for a while. When it comes to aura, what I see, and of course this goes into my bundle of being mad at people for being unaware, but of course this is not reasonable. I'm sometimes I walk around the streets and be like, do you really think that just because you're not looking at me directly, I cannot feel that your attention is on me? This is the biggest disconnect, is when, you know, somebody is at the subway and they're not looking at you, or not even peripheral vision. They're on the phone, but you can feel that their attention is on you. This is the biggest disconnect, is that I feel that people do either are still not aware, the biggest majority, of this part of their body, which is becoming much more important than anything else that we possess. Either they're not aware that they have it, or they just think that nobody can notice these things. And of course, nobody can, the majority cannot notice these things because they're not sensitive. We're numb. We are feel constipated. You know the deal. And that is the thing where the biggest disconnect is between people looking one way and their attention being the other way. And then they're attracting this thing and they're like, what is this now? No, but I've been focusing on this. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. And this can translate into many things. People bullying you, people coming and shaming you. This part is attracting the guilt and shame while you're watching Netflix, while you're watching your phone. You think this part is important. Your eyes, where you're looking, is important. No, it's where your energy is placed. And this disconnect is huge, especially with phones. Like I speak about this all the time. Our body is, let's say the body is in Spain right now. Your mind is in the phone. I'm looking at what Jerome is doing in Texas. My mind is in Texas. Where is my emotional body? My emotional body is back in Croatia when I was 5 years old. How do you expect anything to align in your life? How do you expect anything to, wherever you're going, you're going one way, but it's only 1/3 of us is going right. Another third of us is going back. Another third of us is going up to the satellite that reroutes the Wi-Fi or however it works. And this is the biggest disconnect, is that not only are we disconnected in these few things that people are aware of, like, oh, we need to be, unity of mind, body, and spirit, the Bible thing, the Christianity thing. The regular thing that we're all trying to achieve is be in the present moment, like we explained, multitasking, actually not doing one thing, doing 7 things. But then there's this huge part that people are not even aware that exists, that is always somewhere else. And I would say that. I would say that.
Wow. Thank you for, just expressing that eloquently, because, it feels like it's a hard thing to describe sometimes, to even encapsulate. And it sounds like I can feel your frustration sometimes with people who are not aware, like why, like, how can you not know,
But
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Go ahead.
I can't be mad because to me, I always have to remind myself, not everyone sees what I see. Not everyone feels what I feel, because it's it's easy for me to forget this because for me it's second nature right now. For me, it's like coming into a store and I want to buy a melon and the other person doesn't know what money is. And they're just like, but how are we like, I have these melons, but if only there was some way, something that humans invented for transaction. And I'm like, well, you know, but it's my perspective. I constantly need to be like, I am like, it's so rare to feel what I feel. It's so rare to see these things. And then just Dennis, be patient. The new age is coming. Dennis, just be patient. It's on its way. And you are also the part who needs to teach people to do this. So yeah, you can feel my frustration. It is there. I've learned how to go along with it, but it is still there.
Yeah. It sounds like, Dennis, it does sound like you still do have hope for the future. One
Mm,
of my friends told me that hope, they call hope an acronym. They say hope is an acronym for holding on to positive energy.
mm.
That's what they call hope. And it seems like, like you say, the new age is coming. What do you see on the horizon? Like, if I could ask one more question, just for humanity, what do you see for us in the future when it comes to this?
I see, the scene in the Matrix where they dance in Zion in the cave.
Mm.
Zion, we are not afraid, and then they all sweat and bounce and dance, and all this fluctuation and oscillation that we started the conversation, that's going to be the dance. That's going to be the auric fields is just going to be a wave. It's going to be one person or a few people manifesting generators. Are you ready? Or how does it go with warriors?
Mm-hmm. Come out and play. Come
Yeah,
out and play.
yeah. Warriors, come out and play. And then it's just gonna be a wave, and it's just gonna.
Yeah, I see Morpheus with that speech, giving that speech to Zion and the last of the race, and everybody's in that cave and he's like, "We are still here," so tribal, it was so triumphant, it was so exhilarating just to feel that. So I love that you see that for us. I love that you see that you have that vision and you hold on to that vision. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, thank you.
Man, we got to do this again. We got to do.
Definitely, yeah, man, yeah.
Yeah, this has been amazing, man. And just like right before we go, could you let anybody who, if this is their first time seeing you, Dennis, they don't know anything about you, but their interest is piqued. They're like, "What is this human design? What is all this stuff? I really want to learn more." Where would you tell people to go to find more information about what you do?
This Instagram here, icreatelines.com. I got courses, I got one-on-one sessions, I got a community that meets every Sunday. I do also for free, like a live lymph qigong type of flow every day. I got a YouTube channel with a bunch of playlists. You want to go reflector, projector, manifesting, generator, manifester. So yeah, just go icreatelines.com is like the hub, the center. What's the Tao Te Ching? I always want to reference that.
Mm.
Like the middle of the wheel, the base of the cart on which it all hinges. That's I create lines, and then all the things sprout out from that.
Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome. Well, brother, till the next time, man. Till the
yeah,
next.
man.
Yes, sir. Take care. Take care. Peace.